Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
Tomorrow is opening day.
This morning, didn't have a great hunt. Deer didn't move like usual.
We just got set up in the middle of this bedding thicket. We've been saving this spot from the rut. I think it's a nice buck.
Boom! Hits a 170.
That was money. I think he's down right over there, maybe 10 yards.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy.
Baller rut.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast coming at you.
Man, dude, you're looking really good with that mic stand.
I know, the mic stands are making it awesome in here. I put mine a little too low for this intro and I'm bending over a little bit. I don't want to make the squeak noise.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Here we go. Get that good posture going. All right, guys, we had the learning curve on. This is a team that you guys will want to look out for. The stuff that they got coming out, a 233-inch buck filmed.
Come on.
That is insane. They have the person that is producing this, Josh, he has a ton of experience with producing film for multiple shows, filming for multiple shows, and it shows in their quality with this being their first year coming out. Unbelievable the amount of big deer that they're putting down, their quality of the film, their storytelling capability. Like I said, this is definitely something you guys want to follow, like their Instagram, like their Facebook, because these guys are going a long way. I can already tell it from just the start.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Josh. Just a cool dude. Just a down home, cool dude that basically told us, don't quit. Keep going, keep chasing your dreams. And the one thing I took from this is, get your kids outdoors. That's a huge message in this podcast, I think, is because he's super passionate with his 8-year-old son.
Right.
And then enjoy the hunt, which, I think about, just like I was talking about earlier, I wrote some stuff down because I was realizing, how the sport's evolving for me, and that is something that I think every person needs to do is you don't know how many hunts you might get. So just enjoy when you're out there and experience, whether you don't have a perfect hunt or not, it still takes that experience and grow and enjoy every second of learning and the bad and the good and just make it the best you possibly can be.
I mean, if you get out there and you just get to experience nature, like just like you said, every moment you're out there, you just got to take it in because it is what it is. I mean, it could be your last moment. You could go to your piece, have just a killer hunt, and on your way home, something bad happened. You get a flat tire and you're on a 2-lane road, and you never know. So anytime you do anything, you just gotta really embrace it, enjoy it, and take it for what it is because you never know when your time is.
Yeah, and then really enjoy getting your kids outdoor. And if you don't have kids, get your buddy that has been thinking about hunting out with you, fishing, turkey hunting, squirrel hunting, anything, your neighbor's kid, anybody that has, maybe like what I do is like I introduced my neighbor to deer meat, never had deer meat. I just introduced it. Instead of just giving them some, I cooked them some, and then their son.
You didn't give him no jerky, did you?
No, none of the jerky.
All right, okay, all right. We need to keep that on the DL.
Yeah, but so I gave him some, and then their son was like, "Yeah, man, this is something that I would like to do." And then he really got into fishing. He seen a couple of fish that I'd caught, and then he really got into fishing, and now he does it like a lot, And that just him seeing me fish a little bit and hunt. And him coming over and just asking questions, and he was like, "What's the best crappie jig?" And I'm not a professional crappie jigger for anything, what I mean? But I'm like, well, this works really good for me.
Yeah, a PSE 32-inch. That's what I
yeah. well, you bow fishing or what? I mean, I don't really know what you're doing. But so and then now he fishes a lot. And he used to borrow my kayak all the time to go fishing. Now he's got his own kayak, goes fishing all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you can take my kayak out, man, no big deal. And now he's got his own kayak to
just
go.
Kind of, man, you can just feel that kind of stemming off of you, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think he realized it, but I do. You know, him coming over here and asking me, you know, if I'd have been like, no, you can't borrow my kayak, or no, I don't, you know, I'm not going to tell you what I catch fish on or where I catch fish.
Right.
It would have been that same experience for him.
He's just been picking up the garbage every Wednesday.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, so it wouldn't have been the same as him. And now he has that passion.
Now he's got something to do.
Yeah.
You know, get him off the couch, get him outside. Man, that's super cool.
It is.
I love whenever anybody can tell a story about that, you know, and just getting somebody introduced and get him outside.
All right, let's make this quick. Get into the people that make this possible for us. We're going to reverse it.
We're going to reverse it, yeah.
Reverse it. We're going to start
like
off with Scentlok. And what are we going to talk about Scentlok? We've covered a lot the last couple episodes. They have so many products, it's hard to cover all of them, but that's our main goal. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? Let's see.
Man,
I'd really you got some of their laundry detergent, right?
I did.
Have you used it yet?
I have not. I'm waiting a little bit closer to season. What I like to do is, you know, like the 2 weeks before season comes in, I like to wash my clothes, regardless whether they've been washed, you know, at the end of the season or whatever. They've been stored away all year, or if I've been out hanging stains in them. I just like to get like a good clean slate, what I feel like, and then I'll wash them, and then I'll dry them with, but I'll run my dryer with no dryer sheet, just a blank.
Clean the dryer vent out.
Just a blank cycle, no, because we always run a dryer sheet. Well, the wife does. And so I'll just run that thing, you know, a whole cycle, nothing. And then I might throw my clothes in there for, you know, 30 minutes, and then I'll just take them outside for, you know, just a last little bit. Because usually by this time it's not really too warm out. Yeah. To really dry them out. So
that's an enzyme base, right?
On the laundry detergent, yeah. Everything Scentlok has is the enzyme. Yeah.
So it won't affect the ozone like a copper or another.
Right. They're not a copper base. They're the enzyme. So their liquids do have a shelf life. Yeah. And you know, they're not going to give you something that is not active. Yeah. So everything that they give you is active. And that's what I do. You know, I right before season, I wash them,
run them the ozone,
and then I like to get them outside. And then, you know, obviously before the hunt, I'm running the Oz bag, get them in there, run the Oz 20B in the truck on the way there, get my base layers covered.
Yeah. So that even the scent spray and detergent works with our code, guys. Scentlok 20 get you 20% off any of those products. I know everybody out there, whether they use Scentlok or wear scent clothing, they spray down. I don't know very many people that don't believe in just spraying down a little bit. I know almost every guy does that.
Just like I said with the last episode, field spray plus a gallon. Yeah. That was on my doorstep.
Yep, 20% off, Scentlok 20 right to your door.
Also, check your Bass Pro and Cabela's. Yeah. It might be hit or miss, but they are carrying everything ozone, everything Scentlok, everything laundry, field spray, and then they also have the scent totes with just the carbon flap, which what I got like 13 years ago, started using Scentlok, you know. So it's all there. Just you just got to go there and check it out.
All right, let's get into the ECW calls. What do you want to hit with them with that?
You know, season's getting close.
It is, yeah.
It's getting close.
It's getting super close.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to get off on some tangent, but man, dude, I just cannot wait to get out there and just hit the 5-tone.
Yeah, that 5-tone grunt is, I just like how beautiful and custom it is compared to another grunt too. Plus, it's got a logo on it, so I love that too.
It's got everything you need right there, almost. I mean, it's got the fawn, it's got the doe, it's got mature buck, immature buck. I mean, all you got to do is just slide that reed, and ECW's got you covered.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful setup, super good sound quality, super sturdy call. You know, sometimes you feel like if it's a 2-piece where it breaks apart, it's like kind of loose.
Yep.
This one feels really secure.
That's because
really
it's
tight.
handmade.
Yeah.
Quality products.
Yep. All
from local trees.
Yeah. United States, 100% USA, made by a veteran.
No plastic.
Can't beat that. Talking about veterans, let's get right into the.
You have another veteran?
Shout out.
No, do you have another veteran sponsor of this podcast?
Oh yeah, the VIP Veteran Broadhead, Veteran Innovative Products. You guys seen the video about it singing the national anthem? Now, hopefully, we can send you very soon a clip of it in live action going into a doe, and I guarantee you, whether I'm not saying it's going to be edited in, but there's a possibility it could be edited in. A national anthem, and then I'm pretty sure when it hits, I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen. I mean,
your speakers are blown.
Yeah, when it hits, you better turn the volume down because what we've been leaving out just to really surprise you guys when you get them. You know, I mean, this is the number one feature, but you know, the variable cutting width, you know, all that. I mean, the pass-through technology, you know, the high quality. That's all really awesome. But this is the number one feature. When it hits that doe or that buck that you've been hunting, somehow they have got a Ric Flair embedded in the broadhead. When it hits, the loudest Ric Flair that you have ever. So if you want to shoot 2 does, you got to be quick because they're going to be spooked by the Ric Flair. So it's going to be veteran broadhead to Ric Flair. Woo! You know, I mean, right when it hits, then you're going to Ric Flair, and it's going to sound like an echo. Just going to repeat. You know, I mean, so I wanted to surprise you guys with that when you bought a pack. But now I just told you, ruin the surprise. But I'm so excited about the veteran broadhead that I just had to let you guys know. So whether it's you in the tree Ric Flairin' or the broadhead Ric Flairin', I'm not really sure because I get pretty Ric Flairin' when I shoot something. But I'm 98% sure it's the broadhead. So I just want to throw that out there.
Are you trying to move on from that?
Yeah. I'm gonna move on for that.
Oh wow. All right.
Where we at here? Oh, yeah, okay, there we go.
I would say if you need me to come back, I got something to come back to.
Go ahead, come back. I need a second.
All right.
You guys think we script this stuff out, but this is nothing scripted here. This is just pure BS, just flowing.
I'm almost crying. So I asked somebody what made their broadhead the best, and I had no response. And then literally 2 days later, I had a guy come up to me, and we were talking about bow hunting, and it was getting kind of very deep talk. I mean, we were getting deep. We got it deep. He's given up hunting big bucks to go duck hunting, just strictly, so he hasn't hunted big bucks in 4 years. And at that point, I just kind of lost my mind. And he kind of asked me, what I was doing, what kind of deer I had down and stuff. And he asked what broadhead I shoot. And I was like, so I told him, I said, well, I shoot the veteran. And he said, well, what makes that broadhead, so great? And I mean, I'm driving down the road at 60, just on a 2-lane highway. And I looked at him just dead as shit. I said, dude, do you really want to ask me that? Because I got like a Bible just stacked up of shit I can tell you
right
what
when that
makes...
happened. Right when that happened, you hit the button with the American flag cape. Just American flag just out the back of the tailgate. I was like, dude, I got so many things I can tell you about, but by the time we travel 20 miles back to where I'm going to drop you off, I'm only going to get over half of it. And he was like, okay. But I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the website, and I'm going to tell you where I've got all my information, and you can go and look at it. And I was looking him dead in the eye. Like, I mean. This is serious talk.
Yeah.
Homie gets pumped about broadheads.
whenever I hear anybody talking about broadheads or asking me what I shoot, or if you ask me on the page or wherever, if you ask, what broadheads that you should shoot, dude, I'm sending you a 5-paragraph essay. And it's no bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's straight up from
science.
the heart. I'm sending shit at 7:10 in the morning. I almost text Cody. I was like, dude, it's too early for this broadhead shit. And I'm sending it. And it was a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I was like, it's too early for this shit, but I'm out here just, man, dude, and I was awake the rest of the day. I didn't even need a nap.
All right, we'll get to the VIP veteran broadhead shout out. Hopefully I don't murder your name. We got Chaz Steiner. Oh, man, Steiner?
Steiner?
Is it Steiner?
That sounds like Steiner.
Yeah. He's a 100% disabled veteran, United States Air Force. Is it Chaz?
I don't know. I can't read.
That's a hard name.
Yeah, Chaz.
Yeah. Chaz, man, we appreciate your service. I'm sorry that I butchered your name, man. It's hard. That's a hard name right there.
It is.
So.
You got to hit us up at whitetaillegacypodcast.com. Put in your name, and then in the comments you can help us with pronunciation of your name, and also elaborate on some details about your service, your training, any other further pronunciation of the places that you've been.
Yeah, that's another hard one.
Right.
Yeah. So we appreciate you so much, Chaz, for doing what you did. 100% disabled. Just keep doing you, man. I hope that you get through every day. Just know there's people out there that really appreciate what you did for this country. There's a couple sitting here right in this room that deeply, deeply appreciate you. And from our kids and our wife, they all deeply appreciate what you did for us and for this country. And from the Whitetail Legacy crew, we salute you, man. All right, guys. Wait, hold up. We forgot Ingram, the OG.
No,
we forgot the OG, man.
You did.
We almost left out the OG. He would have been like, all right, signing, that's over, wrap it up, call it a year.
Well, yeah, I didn't have to get that K for that mount right there.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Ingram's Outdoor Obsession, the OG of Whitetail Legacy Pod. That's what we're gonna hashtag him, the OG.
He should be. He should be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
way
risking
back in
it.
Yeah. Risking it for the biscuit.
He's risking it to get the biscuit, which I'm going to be doing here about 2 months.
Yeah. So
and you're going to be filming.
We can't thank Ingram enough for all he does. If you guys got any mounts that you want to get done, check him out. Find him on his Facebook page and Instagram now, Ingram's Outdoor Obsession. There's a link on our website right there. Click that, go to there. We're going to should have that video out by now, hopefully.
No.
On the production side, homie's taking forever.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have that video out. You get to see him, his real personality, and what he can put out there for you guys.
Don't forget, if you just come to hunt Illinois and you listen to the Whitetail Legacy podcast, if you just come here to hunt, Ingram's done it before. If you just come here and you leave and then you don't come back here until the next rut, your deer's going to be here when you come back to the next year. He's done it multiple times, and that's one of his
assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he can do.
You can just, I mean, it sucks to wait. I don't know. I'm sure he doesn't have a care in the world to ship it.
Yeah,
but
you might
I'm sure all the
penny.
liability is going to be on you.
Yeah.
But he'll have it propped up in the studio, and as soon as you come back on November 12th to pick it up.
When you're dropping your other buck off.
When you're dropping your other one
because
off.
you got all the tips from Whitetail Legacy podcast that helped you shoot that buck. You'll be in there and be like, man, only reason I'm here is Whitetail Legacy boys.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoy this episode. I'm telling you, look out for this team. Look out for Josh. This is a rock-solid dude. You can tell when they're rock-solid right off the bat. And just us spending this little bit of time with him, this is a solid dude. So I can't wait to we'll hopefully get a couple more of his team members on this show. I guess he's got a back burner,
boatload of just
back burner guy that's just full
dudes.
of knowledge and big buck killing. So we can't wait to get him on. All right, hope you guys enjoy this episode. All right, guys, we got Josh McAlillister on, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Like we said, we appreciate your time coming on. We know you're a super busy guy. It took us a while to get this set up going, but I'm glad we finally got it going on. I know you got a lot of knowledge to share with us, and anything that you want to put out there, we're ears open on this one because we're pumped.
Well, I greatly appreciate it. It's been a busy time of the year. Myself, along with most of the guys on the squad, they live and breathe hunting like thousands of other folks across the country. But at the same time, we have full-time jobs, and it's difficult to try to fit everything in. But like I said, we appreciate you having us on. That's for sure. Yeah,
the reason I reached out, like I was telling you, is we like people that are doing something a little bit different, but you can just tell you guys are newer to the learning curve is, newer, but you guys are putting out top-notch, high-quality film, so that's why I wanted to reach out, and I can just tell from your videos, you guys are telling the story, you're relatable guys, and, I say it all the time, I relate to videos that are like that, I'd rather watch that than just a kill shot, it's just more meaning to me, so we can't thank you enough for coming on. We'll get right into this and just kind of let the listeners know, where you're from, how long you've been hunting, and go on with that.
Well, goes way back, just like most hunters have in their life. They all started young with somebody, some mentor, some family member. And in my family, we didn't have a lot of hunters. I'm from Southern Ohio, Soda County, Pike County area. That's where the majority of the learning curve squad's from.
Big buck country, huh?
Big buck country, big ridge, big timber, big country. It's very difficult to hunt. It's highly pressured, highly pressured. Land's getting difficult to get or even lease, but there is some nice deer down here. But I grew up here my whole life. I'm 38 years old. I can't believe I put that out there. But
we'll edit that out.
Started when I was 8 years old. Basically, just I'd take the first couple of days off of gun season, and my grandfather, he would take me, and I hunted for several years before I even had an opportunity to pull the trigger at a doe. And I would go out there and freeze my butt off and wear coveralls that was twice the size of me. And I loved every minute of it. But when he later on down the road, he passed, and I really didn't have anybody else to show me the basics, to teach me the basics. And I wanted to learn more. I had a lot of friends that was kind of in the same boat. They wanted to start bow hunting. They wanted to learn more about it. And down in this area of Southern Ohio, Pike County, Soda County, Adams County, there's a core group of guys that were pretty close. And we basically just started, teaching each other, talking to each other about things, going to expos, reading magazines, watching television shows, listening to guys that had did it for so long. And that's how we learned. And eventually, after my grandfather passed, I never, that was the only time that I actually hunted with a firearm, was while he was alive. And once he passed, I actually put the firearm up, and I never touched another firearm again to hunt deer with, or anything. I've shot a few turkeys with a shotgun, but for the most part, I strictly bow hunt. And I've been that way ever since my grandfather passed, so.
Can you elaborate on why you're just so much into bow hunting?
It's when I was younger, it was all about the kill, the trophy, the antlers, and all of us was the same way. We wanted to get where all the older guys was and what they was doing, and it was just a challenge. It was tough when you first start bow hunting. And hence the name of our web series, The Learning Curve. It's a huge learning curve when you're young, especially when you don't have a mentor or somebody that's right by your side. It's been doing it for years. We all had to teach each other, and it was challenging. It was difficult, and I wanted more of it. Every time I hunted, I wanted more of that experience. And as the years go on, it just, like everybody else out there that bow hunts, it just turns into an obsession. And as the years go on and I got older, it just, the obsession got worse, getting that animal close, building, you build a relationship with certain bucks, certain deer. You start to know them and they start to know you, and you got to try to figure each other out, and you got to try to make the next move on each other. I mean, it's just a fun game, and sometimes they're short-lived and sometimes they never end. So
yeah, we just did a whole podcast pretty much about that exact story with a buck I've been chasing. So when you get that in you and you get that challenge of chasing that one deer or a big deer in general, it's just when you take that step from shooting, any deer to targeting a deer, it's just a whole different level, a whole different ball game, a whole different meaning to hunting, like you said. I mean, it's like a character thing for me. I'm trying to be better at hunting for myself. So I feel you. I feel what you're saying there for sure.
And I've been fortunate since I started bow hunting to take some really good bucks. But now it's not about, filling the tag every year. It's more about every day. Life is short. It goes by fast. My son Maddox, he is 8 and he's getting involved in hunting. And before you know it, you look back and go, where did the time go? So I've learned to enjoy each day that I go out more and more, the experience, just being out there, the hunt, everything about the hunt. I look forward to that. Getting up, and it's not about punching the trigger. It's looking through pictures and looking at sheds and studying maps and studying weather and being out there in a tree and fighting the inclement weather and all that. I don't want to take it for granted. We only have one life to live, and I want to enjoy every minute of it. And it's just not about pulling the trigger. It's not about the kill. It's just, so when you get older, you start to realize it's about much more than that.
I know one thing that Cody and I are super pumped about is, just like you said, you got your 8-year-old son. We always say on this podcast, when our 2 and 3-year-old now are, going to be 14 and 15, they're going to be at the point that we're at now at 27 and 28 years old, as far as their deer hunting skills, just because we didn't have anybody really showing us how to bow hunt, but we're going to be right there by their side, showing them how, things work out at the beginning of October or, late December, when you don't have that opportunity to get out there with a gun, but, you can be out there with a bow. So I think that's one thing that, we're looking forward to. And just like you said, it's going to be here before we even know it.
Yeah. Maddox, he's my only child. And I remember the day that I found out I was having a boy, it was one of the best days of my life, because that's all I wanted. All I wanted was a son to where I could share the things that I haven't got to experience, because I wish that I had somebody that started me earlier than what I actually did. So Maddox, actually, when he was 3, was go into the woods with me and my friends. And I can still remember taking my iPhone and videoing him actually trailing by himself a doe that a friend of mine shot when he was 3 years old. And it's just unbelievable. And it's just, he's with me all the time. He's not been with me every time that I've got to shoot a buck, but he was with me in 2016 when I shot the tight rack 10. So that was pretty cool. But, he'd shot his one doe. Let's see, when was that? It was 2016. He'd shot his doe. And we never really got to chase after a buck until last year. And the second time in, I took him in, and he did unbelievable. I mean, the hunt, which if anybody got to see it, it's called The Gift. There's a little bit of story behind it. I think you guys have watched it, but it's a really special hunt. Everything about that story was true with the watch. So there's so much that Maddox brings to the table for me, and so much enjoyment. And that my main focus now for this year, early season, is to try to get him his next buck. That's
super cool, man. That's something that I look forward to, is getting him out there, you know, you have a hunting buddy now, you know, for life, you know. So it's super cool that you have that opportunity. And like you said, I want to start my son, because if I knew what I knew now 10 years ago, even, I mean, the hunter I would be now would be, you know, astronomically better, you know, as the knowledge of the deer, you know, and understanding why we're hunting, you know, other than just kill a big deer, you know. So
Maddox is really fortunate to have somebody that wants to share the experience, because now a lot of days, you know, our hunting numbers, especially with young children, is declining. And a lot of times it's because, number one, there's nobody getting them involved. Life is busy. You know, a lot of kids play sports, but a lot of it has to do with technology and playing video games and not getting out and experiencing the outdoors. And I wanted to make sure that Maddox has got to enjoy that. And he's been pretty fortunate. He's really good. He pays attention to whatever I tell him. You know, he's 8 now. He turns 9 in February, and he listens. He shot 3 deer with a crossbow. All of them's been on video. He's did it by himself. He's
what age did you get him out with a crossbow? Because me and homie was wondering. I was like, how early do you think I can get my son out with a crossbow? So how early was his first kill?
Maddox was 6.
6.
Maddox was 6. We took him out. A friend of mine, a Yukon XL, took him out. It had a scope, crosshair scope. Basically, the limit was 20 yards. I wanted to. At that time, I helped him study the crossbow. I tried it out, and with me helping him study it, he was shooting darts, and I thought, wow, he's ready. And the first hunt that we went out, I took him. He shot a doe on video.
You spoiled him, didn't you?
Spoiled him. And what happens then? They expect it every time.
Oh yeah, they're like, "Where are the deer at, Dad? This is it's ridiculous."
So I spoiled him. So this past season, this last fall, when I took him out, the very first hunt of the year, we had 2 pretty good 3-year-olds come in right at that 130-inch mark. And I didn't, regardless of what it was. I don't have limitations on Maddox. He can shoot whatever he wants to. And I had these 2 bucks come in. I had a GoPro setting on the field looking up at the stand because I was hoping to catch the pass-through.
Yeah.
And the buck come in, and he actually smelt the GoPro with his nose, and he took off running.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Maddox bawled his eyes out. He cried and cried and cried because he expected it to happen the very next time. So I hated to see his heart broke, but at the same time, it was good for him to experience that, because when you bow hunt, you guys know as well as I do, you're going to have
that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
That is just the beginning.
Yeah.
That is just the beginning. So, but hey, the very next time we went out, a weekend later, he shot the 9-pointer that he did last year. So
incredible.
You know, so the name of this podcast is Whitetail Legacy, and you know, the legacy part of that name is, you know, us trying to get other people motivated to get their kids, or, you know, if they don't have kids, get the neighbor kid, or, you know, their best friend's kid, you know, a guy they work with, you know, get him outside. So do you feel like you have forced the outdoors onto Maddox, or do you think it's something that you showed him and then, you know, he showed interest into it himself, and you just fed him more and more into it?
Well, I started introducing it to him when we was taking photos of. I do a lot of photography. A lot of hunters will call me, and I'll take their photos, and we share stories with one another. Well, I would take him with me, and he was fascinated by a deer, you know, in the back of a truck or laying in a field. He was fascinated by it. And when I took him out to track that deer when he was 3 years old, and his reaction and how he interacted, I already knew he had the bug. He had the bug, and he was bit. And ever since then, it's, hey, Dad, while we getting on trail camera? Hey, Dad, when are we going to go again?
I can't wait to
Hey, Dad, what buck you got picked out for me? So, yeah, I kind of did force it on him. I put him in that environment, but I didn't want him to fall victim to what I see all the time, and that's children sitting inside with their nose stuck in a phone or a video game.
Yep.
They're missing out on so much.
You see that very often, and I didn't want my son to fall victim to that. And so I kind of forced it on him, but he took it, and the bug bit him, and he's hooked for life.
Yeah, it just sounds like you more or less just introduced him, and then he took the reins and said, yeah, just like you said, he's got the bug. I talked about, my 2-year-old was 1.5 years last year, and we're trying to get him out of the tub, and he's fussing, so I just hand him my phone, and he's just scrolling through trail cam pics after trail cam pics, and he loves it, and he's calm. And this year, every time I'm on my phone, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, when I scroll past a deer, he's letting me know that there's a deer on the screen. So I just don't. We're just trying to learn the way as we go, but I just am trying to figure out the point to where it's forcing it on him. And because we've talked to a couple guys, and they've forced their kids, and now their kids has shot like almost a 200-inch deer, and they don't even want to be. They don't even want to hunt anymore.
They've been forced on it so much; it's almost like a pain.
I don't want to do that with Maddox.
Yeah,
Maddox has hunted probably a total in the last 3 years. Of course, this is his third year with the Ohio apprentice license, and after that, Ohio grants you the chance of purchasing what they call an apprentice license, and you can take a hunter out or a child, and they can experience it. And if they don't like it, then they don't have to go again. But if they do, then that gives them a chance to experience the hunt. And if they want to get involved in it more and deeper, then they can go take a hunter's education course.
Nice. That's super nice of Ohio.
Yeah.
This
is Maddox's final. Yeah, this is Maddox's final year, and we're gonna be prepping for his hunter's education course here real soon. I think he's ready.
See, we're just trying to figure out, where the fine line is of, because obviously we want to get our kids into the outdoors. We don't want them inside on a tablet, on a cell phone, on a game console. We want them out there doing the stuff that we love to do because, one, when they're 8, 10, 12 years old, it's going to be easier for us to go hunting because we're like, hey, babe, we're taking the kid hunting, But we're going hunting for a giant or, whatever. But, we're just trying to find that spot where it's forcing it or, if they're just not going to be into it.
Yeah, like you said, when you said like a lot of even kids are into video games, I just went to a class for work and I was asking what the guys do. And one lived in Colorado, one lived in Washington, one lived in Oklahoma, and I'm from Illinois. And the teacher's from Missouri, and none of them hunted. And I was wondering, I'm like, what do you guys do for fun? Because in my mind, I don't understand a lifestyle without hunting because that's what I grew up around, what all my friends did, so it's just like you said, kids, it's more that it's kids, but it's adults too that have just never been, no one's ever said, hey man, I'll take you out hunting or I'll take you fishing, but I guarantee you if you did that to someone, they would enjoy it, if they're a blue collar guy, they're going to like time to relax and a challenge, you know what I mean? So.
Right.
Let's get into you talked about the Tight Rack 10, so let's go ahead and get into that story. That's episode 2, correct?
That was Whitetail episode 3. We actually did the gift with Maddox. It was a Father's Day special.
Oh, nice.
And then after that, we did the Story of Legend, which was the big giant 8 that my good friend Chad Phillips harvested.
Yeah, that's the Super Brow 8, right?
Yeah, the Super Brow 8.
Wow.
And then an hour later, his camera guy shot the 160-inch 9 out of the same tree.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool little story there. That was called the Story of Legend. And then basically the next hunt was about the buck that I'd shot, the Tight Rack 10. And it was basically just how, if you watch the hunt from the beginning, it was... we're trying to keep a storyline base with the Learning Curve Outdoor Web Series. That was one of the things from the beginning that we all set together. And it's tough sometimes, with certain deer. Sometimes you travel out of state and you don't have history with a deer, or sometimes it's just luck. Sometimes you just don't have that big complete story. And that's cool. That's okay. But we're trying each episode to present a story to everybody that's real world environment that everybody can relate to. It's the trials and tribulations that we all experience. It's not a 1,000-acre ranch. It's public hunting that's highly pressured. it's small time farms. It's baiting the deer. It's all the real world situations that we're not going to fake. We're going to present it to everybody just how it is. And with the tight rack 10, it was a buck that, I knew pretty well. Started back in 2014. Let me see, 2014. And at the time, I didn't know it was him. I'd got a beautiful picture of a buck over a scrape, and I was like, hey, that's a cool picture. And I saved the picture just because it was a great photo. The covert camera that I've been with covert now since 2015. The picture was beautiful. I mean, it wasn't a special buck. It was just a gorgeous picture. So I saved it on my desktop, went about my way. That year, I shot a good buck. Well, the following year, I got photos of the tight rack 10 that year. And again, nice buck. I didn't even realize it was the buck from the previous year from the scrape photo. I did not. Got pictures of him. He was 3.5. He was off limits. He was a nice buck. I wanted to give him another year. I like to see deer hit 4.5. I like to see that, get them to reach that at that time. If what I think they're ready to get hunted to try to take, then I'll jump on them. Well, I got pictures of him that year. He resembled himself when I killed him. He resembled that a lot when he was 3.5. He had that fork on his G2, but he was a buck that never lived on the property where I shot him. He just never lived there. The picture that I had of him on the scrape was 1.5 miles, almost 2 miles away.
Wow.
Yeah. And when he was 3.5, he was coming over on our farm checking does, and then he left during the rut. So I immediately knew that he didn't live on our farm, just because when I got his pictures, I wouldn't get his pictures till late October. And finally, was it 2016? In the summer, I was driving around the area, glass and velvet bucks, and I seen him. He was to the north feeding in a bean field. It was an area I couldn't hunt, but I was watching him from the road, and I seen him. I immediately knew it was him. He had that fork G2, and I kind of made up my mind that I was going to hold out and see if he did the same thing that he did the previous 2 years. So I kind of just sat back until October. I'd put multiple covert cameras out in different places. And sure enough, just like clockwork, like he always did, he showed up late October, and it was like clockwork. And, he's 4.5. He's fully mature. He's a beautiful buck. And the very first night I went, I played the weather conditions right, and he come in super early. It was a super day to hunt. And I was, solo filming, which I do most of the time. Solo film myself. And he come right in and gave me like a 13-yard shot. But it was funny because that spring, after I'd shot him, the season came and gone, and I'm shed hunting to the north, where I had the picture of him when he was 2.5 over that scrape, the beautiful photo. I found his shed all chewed up over there.
Nice. Just tied the story together even more.
I actually stepped on the shed. I wasn't even looking. I was actually walking out, and I stepped on it, and I looked down, and it was his shed when he was 3.5, all chewed up. So
Wow.
that confirmed that he'd been living on that ridge pretty much his whole life. That was his main core area, and in the rut, he would filter over on our place, looking for does. I watched the weather, anymore. If you watch the end of the hunt, one of the things I say is it's not about how much time you can spend in a tree, which is awesome. I wish I could hunt every day. But when you're hunting big mature bucks, sometimes it's just about waiting for the right conditions. And if you got to sit there and wait a week or two for the right conditions to hunt one particular buck, sometimes that's what you got to do. So I was just blessed that he did the same thing he did the previous 2 years, and I was able to be off work I was fortunate enough to have Maddox there with me that evening, and he got to pick up the tight rack 10 with me, and it was a pretty cool ordeal. Pretty cool.
So those sounds like trail cameras played a vital role in figuring that buck out for years and years, you know, and then you kind of putting the pieces together after that.
I think trail cameras are absolutely the number one innovation in hunting ever. They're amazing. They can give you so much information, recent information. And of course, now with technology and the ability to send pictures to your phone, you just can't go wrong. You're missing so much if you don't utilize trail cameras.
Does Covert have a mobile cam?
Absolutely.
Do they?
They have a camera called the Code Black, and that's what the majority of the guys use cell cams. We're actually going to Iowa this November. We drew Iowa tags.
Nice.
So me and Heath is going to be taking cell cams with us.
Heck
and,
yeah. I run cell cams. I talk about it all the time. You know, it's a game changer to know your info and not have to go in there to the, you know, like where we got the mobile cam hung right now. You don't want to be in there. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's one of those
they're
spots.
expensive. Yeah, cell cameras are expensive, but they're worth their weight in gold. I mean, like we're going to go out and hang our stands next month and get prepped up and get prepared, and we're going to hang cell cameras, and we're going to put them. We're going to make some mock scrape utilizing all of the pure whitetail stuff we've got, which I'll talk about that later. Is unbelievable what those guys got going on right now. But we'll go out there, we'll hang cell cams. We'll come back to Ohio. You know, we got an idea when we want to go, but what would happen if, you know, our plans was to go around Halloween, but what happens late October, we start getting a giant on us feet in daylight hours.
You got to go
we're
now.
Gonna do? We're gonna pack our bags and we're gonna head west.
Yeah, for sure.
So cell cams, unbelievable technology. It's amazing what they do.
What's the Covert? What towers do they run off of?
Well, they got LTE. They've got AT&T, Verizon. We run most of ours off of AT&T.
I see.
And they do really well. I mean, steep terrain out here.
Yeah.
You know, Southern Ohio, we've got really steep ridges, deep draws. They do really well.
I'm in the market. I'm in the market for trail cams right now because I just had another one.
We just put in a big order through Covert a couple weeks ago.
What is it, a blackout? Is that what you called it? Or
yeah,
Code Black.
Code Black. What's a Code Black sir. Mobile cam run?
I'd have to go look. I'm gonna guess probably 4. I'm thinking in the mid to high 4 range.
Okay, so they're about average, maybe a little less than.
They're average. You start getting into cell cams, you're going to be looking at spending in the neighborhood of $400 to $500.
Yeah,
but you know, hey, they're worth it. And when you're holding that deer in your hands, that cell camera gave you that information from the previous day. It's worth it. So
yeah, the buck I shot last year, I had put that camera in there. And I never went back in there. Got a ton of pictures of bucks. Went in there first hunt, shot a nice buck, and a lot of it was from that mobile cam because I knew there was quite a few nice bucks in that area, and I never had to go back in there and check it. But I got all that intel when I cruised in there. I was ready to kill one, you know, instead of pull a cam or pull a card, you know. So
you know that show. I got another perfect example of that. In 2015, was it 2015? I think 2015. I got to keep my years track here. I was again hunting a ridge that was quite a ways away from our farm, and it was a spot that I don't go into. It's really hard to get to, very, very hard. It's about 3/4 of a mile walk to get into, and I had actually jumped a very big buck on this ridge where I was planning on putting my stand. So I went ahead and hung it in the tree. I put a covert camera up over scrape. I wanted to get back in there the very next morning to hunt it because I thought, well, if this buck is bedded here, then I'm going to get right back in here. I don't care if I bumped him or not. I'm an aggressive hunter. I'm getting right back on this ridge. And sure enough, I went back in there the very next morning and I bumped him again. I bumped him again.
Dang.
And I checked my camera. I said, man, I bumped him twice. So I went and checked my camera. I got pictures of him that night over a scrape that I'd made. So while I was checking my scrape, I'd actually seen a tree stand. It was public property, and a hunter had come in from out of state and left his climber in the tree. But not only did he leave his climber in the tree, he left his bow hanging in the tree.
What?
I took a picture of it with myself. I said, this can't be happening. I mean, because I'm not saying it's impossible to get into, but it was very, very difficult to get into, and it was a great spot. So I looked down right by my scrape, 20 yards from my scrape. He had to see my camera. He had his summit climber at the base of the tree. His bow had an arrow nocked, and it was hanging on a hanger. So what do you think I did? I pulled my stand. And as I was pulling my stand, he actually walked up the ridge. And he was pretty cool. He's like, hey, man, you know, he said, I was coming in here to pull my stuff. He said, when I walked out yesterday and hung my stuff, I seen this lone wolf standing sticks here. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I usually hunt this for a little bit. And I said, but I was actually getting ready to pull my stand and sticks. He said, well, I said, why'd you leave your bow in there? He said, well, he said, it's just less to carry in. He said, in the morning, he said, I was just going to get in my stand and climb up the tree. So I said, okay. Well, I said, good luck. I said, be careful when I pulled my stuff. Took it back to the house. 7 days later, I'm 2 miles away to the south. I've got my son in the truck. He looks up and says, Daddy, there's a big buck. I looked up. There's that big 8-pointer. He had moved from that ridge almost 2 miles to the south.
Wow.
So I started using cameras. I flooded my place with cameras, and sure enough, he moved over on our place during the rut. And he was 165-inch 8-pointer, had 30-inch main beams.
Holy smokes.
14-inch G2s. Basically, he got pressured off that ridge. He come over to our place. A lot of does was there, and he called that place home.
That is a mega giant 8.
I played chess with him for 2 weeks, and this is where all trail cameras come into play. I had a camera on a scrape that I'd made. It was the 22nd of November. So the big mature bucks was going back to the scrapes that they wanted to check. You know, right around Thanksgiving, you start seeing these big mature bucks. They start going back to these scrapes, and they start checking them. Well, I got out of the tree one morning. It was the 22nd, I believe. I got out of the tree early, and I said, you know, I'm going to go check these cameras. I went over and checked that camera. I had a picture of him at daylight at 7:45 in the morning with a doe walking away. That day, I took a stand and steps, went in at noon, hung, and I killed him at 4:20.
Wow.
Hang and bang.
So, proof that cell cameras, they are an absolutely huge tool.
Yeah, game changer.
And I'm so thankful that we have them. So thankful.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like you brought up the Iowa, place. Like, you're going to Iowa, which is hours and hours away, and you can have that intel before you get there to kind of, okay, so we're getting pictures here. Then you already have a game plan when you show up to the property instead of going in there, pulling your cards, then making a game plan, You can go in there and hang that stand and hunt already with a game plan and not waste a full day of pulling trail cameras and hanging stands. You already know where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, a lot back in the day, that's, hunters. And I think sometimes hunters, they tend to, I talk about going back to the basics, and that's looking at land features and reading deer sign. I think sometimes trail cameras take away from that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was telling homie that.
We don't have to go back and read the deer sign like we used to. We don't have to sometimes study terrain like we used to. I mean, that's how we figured deer out years ago when we didn't have trail cameras.
Yeah, I was telling homie, I said, before I used to run trail cameras a lot, or just like when I got my piece, my good piece about 4 years ago, and I shot a 148-inch 10 off of it. Great deer. I had not ran trail cameras on that for hardly at all. If I would have known what deer were on that piece, I wouldn't have shot that buck. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I tell him. I said, like, before I ran a lot of trail cameras, if I shot a mature buck, that was awesome. But now I know what's out there. It's almost like a hindrance to me to not shoot, deer, because I'm like, man, there's this buck out here that I got to shoot, So there's pros and cons to them, but definitely help out.
And that's what I've been doing. I've been spending a lot of time. I usually run cameras all year, run them over minerals. I start minerals in February and March. I start replenishing them. That's when they really need the mineral. A lot of people wait till June and July, August to put it out for an attractant, but they really need that mineral in February and March. And I'll run cameras starting then really hard, all the way up to antler growth, velvet, and I'll put them on feeding sources. And then I'll start transitioning to scrapes. Right now, it's a good scrape time.
All right, so I heard you talk about a lot of your trail cameras and a lot of your success have come from mock scrapes. That's something that me and homies talked about doing on our new piece that we have. We're trying to figure it out. I've done it, not had a ton of success, and it seems like you have had a ton of success doing it. So I kind of want to just pick your brain to get some knowledge out of you about mock scrapes, how you set them up, the time of year that you do them, and how you set your cameras on them, and just go in detail on that.
Scrape hunting is it can be fun. You can get a lot of inventory of your bucks. You think about it, this time of year, a lot of people don't take advantage of making mock scrapes, and it can be a really good time to start taking inventory of bucks. Prime example is I've got a buck right now. He's 6 years old, and he's an 8-pointer. He's not a huge rack deer, but I've got a really good story with this buck. Sheds, history, video encounters, scrape videos, you name it. And one of the things as he's got older is he's very cautious of how he approaches certain areas, and one of those being bait. So I went back in mid-July, first part of July, and I made a mock scrape in what I figured was his small core area where he spends his late summer, early fall. And the very first buck that I got on the scrape was this old 8-pointer. I just call him the old 8. So, but one of the places that I wasn't getting a whole lot of pictures of him was over bait. And I've got him over the scrape. I've got scrape videos of him coming in, hitting the flex wick and hitting the pure whitetail scents on different scrapes. So that, he's cautious of bait, but he's not cautious of scrapes. So if I didn't put the scrapes out there and put a camera on it, I might not get as much intel, pictures or video intel of him as I did just having a camera over bait.
Yeah. So when you're doing the summer mocks, are you doing just like a buck scent, a doe scent? What are you using in that mock?
Well, I use just about everything. There's several products that I use. Josh and Grant with Pure Whitetail, so they've did awesome at creating some new innovative stuff for making mock scrapes. I've tried different things over a period of years, but what I've got now, it works pretty well, and that's basically starting July and August. Bucks, they're not going to come in and hit scrapes this time of year super aggressive like in October, November. They're just not. They might come in, check the branch, stand on their hind legs, get that that forehead scent on there. They might smell around a scrape, but you're not going to get that heavy duty pollen and going crazy like they're going to do it in October, November. But I'll go in, pick out where I want to put it, whether it be near where I think maybe they're bedding or maybe outside of a food source, or now is a good place with water around a water source. I'll go in, and usually I'll take an electric weed eater and I'll clear out my area, or I'll take Roundup. I'll spray it, get it out the size of a car hood, get it cleaned. And then a little trick that me and Heath use is we like to implement, and if you watched our segment on scrapes, we like to implement a pine branch. And we'll take that and we'll put it up above and we'll wire tie it to the existing limb. And a lot of people think, well, why would you do that? Well, if you think about it, the soft needles on a pine branch is much more appealing to a buck's forehead than an old gnarly nasty limb.
Oh yeah.
So we started implementing this pine branch, and the results was unbelievable. These bucks would come in, check these scrapes, and stick their head up in this limb, and they would just stand there for minutes on minutes and just have their head in those soft pine needles back and forth, rubbing that forehead glands in all over. So that tactic we started using to figure out bucks patterns, and it's a good tool to use. Sometimes, those bucks that are old and mature, they feel very nervous coming into a bait site or an area that's pressured. But if you go in there and try to keep your human scent to a minimum and utilize the things that we do, it seems like we have very good results starting, in August and September.
So, did you say when you start running scrapes?
Yeah, he said August or something.
August.
Yeah,
okay.
we start running cameras over scrapes usually late July, August. Their antlers are starting to finish developing.
And then when you start running the scrapes, you're running the buck urine in those.
You can run buck urine, you can run doe urine. All them deer, you're not getting bucks, communicating, because they're communicating with each other. That's what they're doing. Just because it's summer and it's not October and we're not getting in the rut, they're still communicating with each other. Yeah, you can absolutely, you can utilize doe urine. We're utilizing a product now called Ladies Night Out from Pure Whitetail. That works really well. We're using
that name.
Let me tell you something. This product here, it's called Bachelor's Group, is amazing. Josh and Grant, Pure Whitetail, they have a product called Bachelor's Group. They have a product called Power Shot. It's a little, pretty much scrape beads, real small beads. They are really working. They're doing good. I just checked several covert cameras today, and I had a bunch of bucks checking scrapes.
Yeah, I like running cameras over scrapes too, because like for us, we can't bait in Illinois. For us to get a really good picture of a buck or a lot of pictures of a buck, it's really hard. You know what I mean? So at a scrape, he's going to be there for a little bit. So you get a lot of opportunities, to run a video mode, and you get a lot of different angles of him, or run a 3-shot burst where you might get, 9 pictures of him, in a roll, where if he's just walking across the field, you might get one side of him, and that's all you got. He's a good deer, but you don't really know what he is. So when you run a mock scrape, you really get an idea of what you got, because you get, he's there for a while.
Yep. They're just, it's amazing tool with cameras and deer scent and with the scrapes. You just never know what you're going to get. I don't know how many times in the past that we've went into an area, a new area, and put a mock scrape out, and the deer that would come into it, investigate and check it was amazing.
All right. So we talk. Oh, go ahead.
But another thing that you can do that we like to do is, once you get that scrape established and you get those bucks or does or whatever conditioned to coming into that scrape, what you can do is you can take that limb down and move it to another scrape. Like, because those deer has come into that limb and rub their antlers or their forehead glands and all that onto that limb. Well, what you can do is, okay, let's say down this ridge 400 yards or on this other piece of property or on this other end of the farm, you want to make another mock scrape. You can take that limb, take it down, and put it on another scrape.
Yeah, and you have all that
kind
scent
of jumpstart that.
And it kind of jump starts that scrape, and we seem to get pretty good results doing that as well.
No, that's some awesome knowledge, man. I never thought about the cedar limb on our new property, there's a ton of them, so we could definitely make that happen. You know.
So that limb you're moving, is that a real tree limb or is that a synthetic?
Nope. You'll just go out to just find you a pine tree. It's got soft needles. Take you a saw. Cut you 5 feet off of it if you're allowed to do so there. Take it to your scrape that you're going to make, an existing one or one that you're going to make, and take wire ties, or you can take twine and tie it up above and have it hanging down. And I'm telling you, you're going to get awesome results.
You need to tell Pierre Whitetail to start making a synthetic licking branch.
Hey, Josh and Grant, they're our title sponsor. They're great guys. They're hopping right now. Those guys, they're not getting no sleep. I feel sorry for them. They're so busy right now. Mock scrape season, and
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Well, we've been beating around the bush about your web show, The Learning Curve. Like I said, I reached out to you guys because you guys are telling awesome stories. Your video quality's superb. Your color on your videos is just perfect. You need to give me a secret tip and text how you guys are doing that later on. But let's just go ahead and finish this out with, let's just talk about the learning curve. When it started, why you started it, where people can find you, and go into detail on that.
Well, we kind of always wanted to do our own thing. Me and Heath and Chad and some of the guys, Eric, Jared, Mike. We'd all been involved in some way, shape, or form, involved with a web show or a hunting television show, or some way we've been filming our hunts and documenting things for quite a while. So we had experience doing it. And we said, we need to get something going on of our own. We want to have our hands on, at producing our own stuff, laying it out how we want it. We didn't want to be sending our stuff off or having somebody else working. We wanted to actually try to produce our own stuff, edit everything in-house. And we just kind of sat down one day. We had a meeting together back in February, and we kind of laid out the game plan, kind of some ideas. We threw some ideas out there. Of course, we were just going to stay web-based. That's basically what we wanted to do. And we kind of threw some ideas around. A few of us had been involved with a few companies, and we had a pretty good start on implementing what we wanted to do. And I started learning on production and editing and all that with Adobe products back in the winter. And I said, let's make it happen. So we threw some material together. We talked to some companies. We talked to some people. And we started making it happen. And we started staying true to what we wanted to do. We wanted to do a storyline-based theme. We wanted to keep it real. We didn't want to hide nothing from anybody. We wanted to do things that people could relate to and they could appreciate and value. And, it's hard. We all work full-time jobs. Heath, and me, and Chad, and Eric, and Jared, and Mike, and Alex, and Jordan. Wow. We've got a corrections officer, a pipeliner, construction laborers, a John Deere tractor salesman. We all work full-time
Sounds like
jobs.
a good group of guys. Me.
Yeah, we all work full-time jobs. We stay extremely busy. And we really have to bust our butts to produce what we got to do and to put these clips together and to get the production going. And it's tough. It really is. But we're excited. We're excited to just here in a short few months that we've started the learning curve. We've got a good response. People like what we're doing. And I think people's going to really like the stuff that we're getting ready to put out as the season gets close.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We've got some really good stuff. Yeah. Our next couple hunts is going to be really, really good. We've got, in case anybody don't know, we got a new guy to the team. His name's Jordan Finnegan. He's out of Frankfort, Missouri. He's a John Deere tractor salesman, and he's a big buck killer. He's very knowledgeable. He knows how to get it done, and he's killed one of the largest wild whitetails ever on video ever. It's 233.
That's insane, man.
And we're going to be showcasing that hunt for the first time anywhere on the learning curve.
Wow.
Nice.
That's jacked up. So we'll make sure and share that on the Facebook page and stuff when that comes out, because that's epic, man. But yeah, like I said earlier, you know, props to you guys. Me and homie, I think, you know, we talk about it a lot. I think we're in it more than a lot of guys, you know, just like you are. You know, you're really into this lifestyle, you know. So I watch a lot of hunting videos, listen to a lot of podcasts, read a lot of books, websites, you know, and there's one in particular that I'm thinking about, but it's just really hard for me to relate to someone that just goes out to an outfitter, you know, and shoots a deer maybe on the first or second set. There's no story. They try to make a story by saying, "Oh, we've been getting trail cam pictures of this buck," and they never, you know, they really don't.
They'd never seen the deer until they showed up to the outfitter 20 minutes ago.
There's not, you know, and they get more credit than guys like you that are going out there and hunting. You know, you got pressured property around you. You're hunting your deer. You're working full time. I mean, I think you guys deserve way more credit than they are. And to tell you the truth, you're putting out better or just as good as anybody else is putting out right now, in my eyes, you know.
Right.
So,
well, we appreciate that. You know, we're really focused and we're really trying to work hard and we're trying to stay true to what we initially agreed to. And that's try to tell a story, something that somebody can appreciate and they actually can believe.
Yeah. You got a couple of Illinois boys fans that really appreciate what you're doing, you know, because and
some of the hunts that we're getting ready to come up with, this fall, they're awesome stories. It's going to be the same way, same content, same type of storytelling, lots of history. You know, Heath Cisco, we're getting ready to air his hunt here soon. He missed 2 giant bucks before he got to capitalize on one of the bucks that he missed.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't share that. A lot of people don't share that, you know, and for you guys to say this is part of the story. And like I said, it goes back to that relating. And I think people are going to realize eventually that your kind of content's what people want to see.
Yeah.
Or you know, I don't know. Maybe, like I said.
Because we've all been there. We've all missed. We've all had a giant buck walk by us and we haven't been ready or whatever.
You know, when you don't share that stuff, it's not real. Like you said, you guys are trying to make it real so people can relate and not, you know, not dolling it up to where you guys are professional hunters. So this is just how you guys get it done. You know, you're always talking about how you got it done, and it's not. I can't jive with that. So you guys got it going on, man.
It's really fun. You know, we would do it and we'll continue to do it whether we had 1 follower, whether we had 20,000 followers.
Well, you got
love
2
to do this.
You got 2 guaranteed.
We love to do this. We love to produce it. We love to tell a story. You know, when we're 80 years old and we're sitting on a porch with each other telling stories about 40 years ago about the 180 that we missed or the one that our boy killed when he was 8 years old. You know what I mean? That's why we've got this as, you know, evidence. We've got that on film to share with our families and to share with everybody out there. So we're gonna continue to do it, whether we had 1 follower, if we had no sponsors or whatever. We're gonna still do it. We love to do it. We love to bring it to you guys the real way because that's how we like to watch it. And we're glad that. We're getting the response that we're getting. Everybody seems to like what we're doing.
Well, we can't appreciate your time enough. I know you got a lot of things going on, all your family and the work, and then running the team and getting ready for season on top of that. So we appreciate you taking an hour of your life to talk to a couple of Illinois boys that nobody knows. so we'll definitely keep following your stuff. Can't wait till your new episodes come out. Just like I said, just keep putting them out because you definitely have something going, and I think once more people get to see your film and relate to it, that your following is just going to keep growing and growing. So.
Yep, we appreciate it. Like I said, we're basically just all web-based social media. That's how we're putting all of our content out. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook.
You guys have a website or?
No, we're looking at that possibly. We got some things in the works maybe, but like I said, we're fresh. We're trying to take things in baby steps. We don't want to get over our head because, well, number one, we're so busy with our work and jobs.
Yeah.
You know, it's enough to do what we're doing now. So baby steps, we're gonna get there. We want to get the content. We want to get the good content out there for people to watch and enjoy. We want to put a good product out there for people. We want to make sure it's put out there right.
Yeah.
So basically, just check us out: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Follow us.
Yeah, I watch all your
We've got
stuff
some
right
good
there
things
on
in the works.
Facebook.
We've
So
got some great hunts lined up this fall. You know, we got Eric, Alex, and Jared. I think they're going to try to hunt Kentucky next month. And then our Ohio season starts the 29th, and we're all going to be, a lot of the guys are going to be getting laid off, taking layoffs, and they're going to be in the woods hitting hard. And then come around Halloween, me and he's going to be heading west, and we're going to be going to southeast Iowa. And we've been waiting for that hunt for 4 years. So
wow,
we're pretty pumped. We're ready for a good year. We hope that we can bring some good hunts to the table and bring some more stories to everybody.
Yeah, I guarantee the stuff that you put down enough, you guys know your stuff, so it won't be no challenge for you guys to put another badass year together. But yeah, guys, listeners, check them out, Facebook, Instagram. I watch all their stuff right there on Facebook. Hit the HD button, super high quality, really good color, like I've been saying, really good stories. Check them out. We can't thank you enough for coming on, man. We're going to wrap this up and let you get the rest of your Friday night. Just to the listeners, we love you. Thanks for hitting that play button. Whitetail Legacy out.